All right, let's take a look at question 2e from the 2012 NCEA 2 end-of-year algebra exam for year 12. Let's take a look at this question and see if we can make some sense of it. It says David and Sione are completing a cycle race of 150 kilometers. Sione cycles an average of 4 k's faster per hour than David and finishes half an hour earlier. Find David's average speed. You must use algebra to solve this problem. Well, we know that speed, or if you like, velocity, is equal to distance over time. We know that. That's fine. And we know that we've got one for Sione, and we've also got a velocity for David. Not to confuse David with distance here. In fact, I'm going to substitute distance in straight away. So we know Sione's velocity is 150 over... We're running 1500 for some reason. We will never be using that there. Over time. And it's Sione's time, yeah? We've got also David as well, David's velocity. And his distance is 150, same as Sione. And he's also got a time which he takes as well. But we do know that if we were to look at it in terms of time, let's do that now. So time for Sione is equal to 150 over his velocity, and the velocity is the same, by the way, except we know we're going to tack on 4 extra k's to this one because we know his 4k faster than David. So let's make this 4, and let's make velocity, or let's make time, in fact, for David. Here we go. Time. So we've got time for David is, I'll put a comma here, by the way, I've got a comma in here, is 150 over velocity. This velocity is 4 more than this one, but as long as I make that distinction, then we can start to say, well, we know that the difference between these two is going to be, as it says here, half an hour earlier, which means that Sione, the time it takes for Sione, and if we subtracted the time it takes for David, we're going to get half an hour earlier. So it must be negative a half, because by the time David turns up, Sione will have been sitting there for half an hour, having finished earlier. Of course, we can get rid of the negative by multiplying this by -1, multiply -1, multiply by -1. So now we can say the time it takes for David from Sione is going to be a positive 1/2. Actually, I can see I'm going to take a bit more space here, so I'm going to draw a line straight down the middle here and make a bit more room. But we actually know what these things are. We know what the time it takes for David is. Time it takes for David is 150 over v. Here it is. So I've got 150 over v. And the time it takes for Sione is 150 over v plus 4. And we know all of that, of course, comes to 1/2. So we've got a nice little quadratic here. And let's go ahead and solve for v. So first of all, I can go v times v. So this is going to be v times v plus 4, or over, I've got 150 times v plus 4, minus is my minus 150 times v, 150v, all equals 1/2. Well, of course, expanding this out, I'm going to get 150v plus 4 lots of 150 is 600 minus 150v. Already I can see an opportunity here. Now v times v is v squared. V times 4 is v4v. It's equal to 1/2. But the opportunity I was talking about was 150v minus 150v just disappears. 150v minus 150v is 0. So now I've got 600 over v squared plus 4v is equal to 1/2. Well, I can just go ahead and cross multiply here. 1 times this lot is just going to be v squared plus 4v, and 2 times this lot is going to be 1200. So I can actually subtract 1200 from both sides. Here we go, making this equal to 0. So I've now got a quadratic. So I've got, in fact, let's just make that a bit tidier. I didn't leave any room for it, really. That was my mistake. Let's leave a little bit of room. Here it is. So I've got my v squared plus 4v minus 1200 is in fact equal to 0. So there's the quadratic. Now I'm looking for factors of 1200 that add or subtract of 4. So these are the factors are very close together. So the obvious ones to use would be, well, we know that 30 times 40 is 1200. 3/4 of 12, yeah, that's right. But they're 10 apart. We want 4 apart. So there's nothing we can reasonably have here that would multiply together as integers that would arrive at 1200. So that's not going to work. So we're going to have to go, I think, to the quadratic formula. So let's restate our, here we go, let's restate the equation we had, which was v squared plus 4v minus 1200 is 0. And let's go ahead and, I think I'm going to change my pencil here. That was a bit blunt. This one here, we're going to have, so a is equal to 1, b is equal to 4, and c is equal to negative 1200. 0s, not 6s, by the way. Okay, there we go. So minus b, so v, in other words, v is equal to, and I'll make it into an equation here. V is equal to negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Let's populate that with the info we have. Well, b is going to be negative 4 plus or minus square root of b squared. That's going to be 4 fourths of 16 minus 4 times a is 1 and c is negative 1200. Should be like that. No, 2 times a, that's 2a, or 2 times 1 is 2. Now, what have we got here? This is a 1, isn't it? Yeah. So we've got 16, and they've got negative that times negative that. It's going to be 4816. So it's going to, v is equal to negative 4. In fact, at this stage, I can actually divide by 2. So 2 goes into this here is going to be 2. And I'm going to go plus root 4816 divided by 2, or v is equal to negative 2 minus root 4816 over 2. And this one here is going to equal, let's just do that on the calculator. So I'm going to have here, so we're going to have negative 2. We're going to go plus, we'll do the plus bit first, plus root 4816. And that's going to be divided by 2. So let's go plus, I'll do it in brackets, 4816 divided by 2. We'll divide it by 2 like that. And that comes to 326987 equals 32.6987 ... or equals, and I'll do this bit here now, so there's going to be a negative. So I've got negative 2 minus root 4816 divided by, I don't know why you might have got that in brackets, I don't really need to. And that equals negative 36 and the same thing. Negative 36.2987 ... All right, now that time, that would be, is that time? What are we doing? Okay, this is distance, sorry, velocity, yeah? So we've now got a v. So we've got the v for s and the v for d. So David's velocity of David is equal to 36.2987. Because he takes 4 seconds longer, yeah? And the velocity of Sione is going to be 32.6987. And these are going to be meters. Oh, wait, no. These are kilometers per hour. What am I doing? These are kilometer. Sorry, these are not meters per second. What am I doing? These are kilometers per hour. So kilometers per hour. This is kilometers per hour. All right. So we know that. Now let me just check and see whether I agree with myself there. Let's have a look. So we've got Yeah, this is looking good. This is looking good. All right. So yeah. So our difference in time. So David's speed is going to be, as we said before, half a is 4 kilometers per hour slower. So not faster. So I've got this the wrong way round. This is Sione's. This was David's here. It's going to be 32. So Sione's speed is 32. And that's David. Let's have a look. So the difference in time. Sorry, I was going to get my head around this. So what we're looking at, Sione's speed is in kilometers per hour. So the time difference is this. So therefore, Sione's time must be the upper one. My bad. Here we go. By the way, we're not worried about the negative here. We're not concerned about that. All we're just saying is velocity for Sione is 36.2986, and David is going to have to be this one along the bottom here. He's going to be traveling a little bit slower, and there is velocity for David. So they are our two velocities. And you probably want to put that to 2dp's or something, but I'm quite happy just leaving it right there. And I put 4dp. But they'll tell you which one they want you to do. Okay, hopefully that makes sense.